Okie dokes, ladies and gentlemen, we should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage here in Saudi Arabia. We'll be getting underway very shortly for free practice 1. Currently up on the screen we do have the ending results of the Bahrain Grand Prix, but of course here we are a short way across the Middle East in Jeddah for the third race of the triple header. We've had, of course, Bahrain last weekend, and the weekend before that we had Japan, and now, well, here we are, third race, the triple header in Saudi Arabia. It should be a fantastic race. Pirelli, the good news from Pirelli is that they have brought a step softer set of tyres. They've brought tyres that are softer than they were last year, so that means we should be getting a two-stop race. And as we saw last weekend with a two-stop race, there is, well, a whole lot of overtaking, which is fantastic. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, 30 minutes away from the start of FP1. I'll answer any of your questions in the chat. Any questions that you have got, be sure to let me know. But yeah, given here that we've got a lot of rookies and we're here in Saudi Arabia, the lap times, and I think the crashes that we're going to see are, well, we're going to see quite a few crashes. That's what I'm predicting. I obviously can't guarantee it, but I have a feeling that we are going to be getting some crashes, mainly just because they do race here in F2. Of course, last year out we had Oliver Behrman make the step up from Formula 2 to Formula 1 for this Grand Prix because Carlos Sainz was ill. But the thing is, the Formula 2 cars are so much slower around Jeddah than the Formula 1 cars. It is they have raced at the circuit before, but it's a totally different experience when you're in a Formula 1 car. If we had a look at the lap times from Bahrain, I don't know the exact lap times for Saudi Arabia off the top of my head, but for Bahrain, if you go from the Formula 3 cars to the Formula 2 cars, there is a 6-second improvement in lap time. And then if you go from the Formula 2 cars to Formula 1 cars, I think the lap time improvement is on the order of 13-14 seconds or something like that. So there's a huge step up from Formula 2 to Formula 1, and that's kind of the reason why we see a lot of drivers that do well in Formula 2 can't make everything work in Formula 1, because there's such a big difference. It's like, well, obviously it's a totally different category, but it's a huge step up which the drivers, for whatever reason, can't deal with. We're getting some issues with the internet here, I think. Apologies if there is any if there's buffering. Hopefully that can be fixed, but that's just my internet not doing particularly great here today. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to continue on. Hopefully everything's all right. So yeah, what else have we got going on then? Oh yeah, my internet's back. Okay, nice. Hopefully that doesn't drop out again. Okay, so be such a big difference, but yeah, I'm not sure. It's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? Okay. We have got updates for the Red Bull. That's one big thing. Red Bull have brought a set of upgrades, which is going to be very exciting to see how they actually turn out. Are they going to be good upgrades? Are they going to be bad upgrades? We shall wait and see. We've got 800 people tuning into live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. It very much is appreciated. Hello, Fun Gamer. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Yeah, pretty. Just enjoying my holiday here. It's Easter here in the UK, so if you're celebrating Easter, then I guess happy Easter. Is that what you say? I'm not sure what you say really. It's been a long time since I've done an Easter egg hunt. Thanks Rhythm for joining the channel members. All right, can we get some goddamn cameras on all of the turn exits during quali? Yeah. Oh, we could get. I think we will have some drivers driving into the cameras, into the barriers. We've seen this a couple of times. I think I can't remember. Monaco has a barrier where Monaco has a camera where it's mounted like right on the barrier, and I remember one of the drivers drove by it and just drove and destroyed the camera. But we'll see what happens there. Okay. It's Good Friday. Oh, it's Good Friday. Yeah, yeah. It's Easter on Sunday. Yeah, apologies. But yeah, I don't really. It's been a long time, so as I said earlier, since I've sort of paid attention to this stuff. All right, let me get rid of this F1 TV advert actually for now. We know the big teams are upgrading their cars, but are there any upgrades for the smaller teams? Aston Martin, Alpine, Sauber. I will have a double check of what the what the teams have submitted to the FIA in terms of their upgrades, and I will let you know. But the big upgrade is that Red Bull are bringing a 3-part upgrade. So they're bringing an upgrade this weekend here in Saudi Arabia. They're bringing an upgrade in 2 weekends' time in Miami, and then they're also bringing another upgrade in 1 month's time, essentially, at the Imola Grand Prix. So we'll have three races with 3 upgrades for the Red Bull, and that is their sort of package to try and fix the car, I suspect. Exoteric, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Very much is appreciated, buddy. If your name has appeared in the chat, then you've been gifted a membership by Exoteric. Thanks very much. Okay, I'm watching at work. Yeah, well, hopefully you do enjoy listening along to the coverage at work. We actually do get quite a lot of people that are listening along on on Fridays. All right. So let's continue on then. What are your predictions? My predictions. Oh, still getting adverts. Let me just block the adverts there. Apologies for that. Okay. So my predictions for this weekend, I suspect we are going to get at least 1 safety car, purely because the barriers are so close around this circuit and the stakes are so high. I suspect we will be getting at least 1 safety car, and then I also predict that Oliver Behrman is going to out-qualify Esteban Ocon again, and my third prediction is the driver that starts from pole position will not win the race. If we look at the previous 4 races of the season, every driver that went on to get pole position ended up winning the race. We saw Lando Norris get pole in Australia. He went on to win the race. We saw Piastri get pole in China. He won that race. We saw Max Verstappen get pole in Japan. He won that race. And then in Bahrain, of course, we saw Piastri get pole again, and he won that race. So every driver that has got pole position has gone on to win the race so far in the season. I think that's going to change this weekend. There is lots of overtaking opportunities around here. So that's my prediction. Okay, Exoteric, another $20 donation. Thank you very much, buddy. I like gifting subs in free practice. The real fans are already here. Keep up the good work, F1 Gamer. And one last congrats on the 5 years. Well, thank you. Glad that you. Well, of course, yeah, we do have a lot of the OGs that still tune into all of the free practices and everything. So yeah, thanks for the donations, and thanks for gifting memberships. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster of 5 years, really. I remember I have some messages from my friends, like it must have been when I hit like 1,000 subscribers, being like, oh, hitting 10,000 subscribers is going to be so ridiculously hard, and maybe it's not even going to work out. And then I remember when I hit 10k, it was like, oh, maybe hitting 100k is going to be absolutely impossible. Like, we'll see if it happens. And then it's just keep on. It just kept on increasing, didn't it? So, it's kind of mind blowing to think about. Okay. Oh, it's lagging for you guys. Okay. Hopefully the issues stop. I will try and get my internet sorted out. Oh, in fact, I've totally forgot. I could get my internet sorted out in a matter of minutes. Ladies and gents, if you could give me... Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the FP1 stream. Hopefully, if there are issues, I have a fix ready to go ready to go in about 10 seconds. So it's just in the other room, and I've got to go get it plugged in. All right. But yeah, we got 19 minutes left till free practice 1 gets underway. Is it still lagging? Right, let me know when it stops lagging. As of right now, from my OBS window, it says it stopped lagging, but it seems slightly unreliable, to be honest. So I might just go get it fixed. Okay, what else have we got? Actually, you know what I can do? I can just stop streaming on Twitch. Ladies and gents, whoever's watching on Twitch, if you move over to YouTube, that will stop all of the lagging issues. So I'm just going to stop streaming to Twitch, and that should fix everything. Yeah, because I'm streaming to Twitch and YouTube. So if I just stop streaming to Twitch, then we should be good. All right, fantastic. Okie dokes. So 18 minutes left of the session, and we have got, well, we've got Red Bull with upgrades, and I'll run through all of the other upgrades as well. Okie dokes. We shouldn't have any more lagging issues now. Right. Oh, thanks, X Jack All X. Thanks for joining the channel members. Wow, we've got loads of people joining the channel members today. Right. Also, we are sponsored by Surfshark. So, previously we were sponsored by F1 TV. Now I've also been sponsored by Surfshark VPN. So the way to watch F1 using Surfshark is you buy the membership using the link in the description, and then you go and click on the Austrian VPN. You join the Austrian VPN, and you make your way over to Service TV. And Service TV should have you covered. You get all of the free practice sessions, all of the qualifyings, all of the races, all for free. After, of course, you have a VPN to Austria, not Australia, Austria. Okay. Right. What else have we got going on today then? Well, I'll run through a couple of other things as well that I have kind of forgotten to talk about. So, Lando Norris is saying that he has been forced to drive in a different way. So essentially, he's saying that the car has been developed in a slightly different path, which means that it has to be driven in a different style. So maybe, getting onto the brakes slightly earlier and rotating the car earlier into the corner than it comes naturally to Lando Norris. Because you've got to remember, when the drivers are driving around, say, whatever speed, 150 miles per hour, and then taking corners at ridiculous speeds, they're not actually thinking about it. A lot of it is muscle memory. A lot of it is what comes naturally to the driver. So that's why the thing about driving styles becomes very relevant. As in the upper categories in Formula One, in WEC, there's a lot of specific stuff about the driving style. In the slower categories of motorsport, you can kind of think about your driving process a lot more, like you're in the braking zone for maybe 3-4 seconds, rather than you're just in the braking zone for about 1 second before you immediately get back on the power again. So in Formula One, so in other motorsport categories, you have a little bit more thinking time, which means that your natural driving style doesn't actually affect things a lot, because you have the opportunity and the brain power to think what you're doing into a certain corner, and then correct for any issues with the car or how. Okay, ladies and gents, we should be back. I've just plugged my laptop sort of into the Wi-Fi router, which should mean all of these issues go away. Yeah, apologies for that. But yeah, I've just plugged my laptop now into my Wi-Fi router, and it should be good to go. All right. Here we go then. Gonna carry on with the coverage. I think YouTube should be able to get everything back and going. The audio is back, and very nice. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, Red Bull have brought upgrades, and Lando Norris is having some issues driving his car because, well, the thing hasn't been the most drivable according to him. However, it's a little bit interesting, really. Up until this point, the car has been totally drivable, and suddenly Oscar Piastri now gets pole position. He gets wins more than Lando Norris does, and suddenly now the car is not very drivable, and things like that. Oh, I don't know why it's showing the Bahrain race. Let me just give me a second here, ladies and gents. Oh, we've got everything going wrong today. Wi-Fi issues and all right, there we go. Now it's got the the track map for Saudi Arabia. Fantastic, brilliant. Apologies for all the issues here. We should be good to go. Now. Okay, so I'm now going to take you through a lap of the circuit. I've got an onboard recorded, so here we go then. You make your, in fact, I shall just make this a little bit bigger. So we've got, you know, this is the main straight. You come out the final corner, hope to get a good exit down the back straight, and then you're going up into 8th gear, 320 miles per hour before you hit on the brakes here. The curbs are very, very flat, so you can just drive over them through this part of the circuit. Get very close to the wall on the left-hand side, and then you're back on the power as you go towards the fast part of the first sector. You go flick the car to the left, then hold it flat through the right here. This corner is flat quite easily, and then this is the tricky part here. You got to lift a little bit earlier than I did, so you can carry more speed through the second part of that corner. Then you go towards the end of the track here, and you've got quite a few different lines you can take through here, but the best line is hitting that apex early and then getting onto the power as soon as possible, because you've got a long run around the back. You tap the brakes, flick the car right, and then continue on. No DRS on this part of the circuit because there are little kinks in the roads here and there, and it's also blind as well. All right, we have reconnected to YouTube. Apologies for the internet. Hopefully it continues on working. I've now just gone and turned off all of the other connections to the Wi-Fi, and this hopefully should fix everything. I've now plugged myself into the router. I've turned off all of the other connections to the Wi-Fi, and it should work. I've never had these issues before. Well, I have probably about 2 years ago, but here we are. Okay. So this is what happened to Russell in Bahrain. This is exactly what happened to Russell in Bahrain. Yeah, lots of issues with his car, with his steering wheel. In the end, we found out that his brake pedal had gone a little bit loose. So, not loose, he had lost sort of, his brake-by-wire was kind of failing. Like, sometimes he would have a decent amount of brake pressure, sometimes he wouldn't, and he was sort of modulating it and just sticking things going. Just keeping things running, basically. I don't think his steering wheel switched off, but it was getting kind of close to that point. There was a potential chance that his steering wheel would switch off. So, yeah. All right. Power cycle your motor and router. Yeah, I will do that once the free FP1 finishes. I'm obviously not going to do that right now, because if I do, then it's going to... yeah, well, then the stream's definitely going to switch off, isn't it? Brake-by-wire is a concern. You get a lack of feel. Yeah, lack of feel, because that's the thing, especially around Bahrain, it's quite easy to lock up because you've got huge braking zones, and if your brake-by-wire stops working, then you don't have you can't feel when the car's going to lock up, and well, then hence, you lock up and you go straight on, you turn your tyre into a 50p piece, and that's the end of that. Okay, the DRS zones around this circuit. Yeah, let me just show you that. So there have been some changes, in fact, to the DRS zones. I will show you where they are on the circuit, but we also have had some changes to where, like, sort of how long these zones are. So let me just show you on the track map here. All right, so we do have DRS, of course, down the main straight as standard. We have DRS coming down here as well, and previously we didn't have DRS through this part of the circuit, but now we do. So between 19, 20, 21 and 22, even though it's kind of blind, the drivers are just flat through here. So we do also have DRS in this part of the circuit, just between 19 and 22. 22, you do have to brake and flick the car left. So 19 and 22, we do have DRS. On the lap that I recorded, that was on the F1 21 game, and I don't think we had DRS there in F1 2021. Okay. Will the Twitch stream be on? Unfortunately not. With the Wi-Fi issues that we've been having, I'm not going to be streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, just to prevent anything more from happening that is not ideal. Yeah. Yeah, currently on the screen we've just got the Bahrain stats, but I can actually get rid of those because I think we have got the Saudi Arabia stats coming through now. Yeah, we have. Fantastic. All right, let me get rid of that. And I shall get rid of the Saudi Arabia stats from last year as well. Yeah, we don't have Logan Sargent still in Formula 1. We have, these are the updated ones. Fantastic. Okie doke. So you got 6 minutes left till the start of free practice 1. Hope Red Bull is updating their car. Indeed they are. So I said this a little bit earlier before all the Wi-Fi issues, but we had Red Bull had issues, of course, this season, and they haven't been all that quick. So what they've done is they've put together a 3-weekend upgrade package. So they're going to be bringing sort of 3 lots of upgrades this weekend, then they're going to be bringing it next weekend in Miami, and then the weekend after that in Imola. So 3 races. Red Bull will be continuously bringing upgrades. Hopefully by the end of Imola they will have developed their car to be quick enough to compete with the McLarens. Now we still don't know if that's going to happen. We're going to see their first set of upgrades today, and if they actually work or not, and based off that we'll be able to figure out if Max Verstappen has a chance of defending his world title, or if it's going to be an easy win for one of the McLaren drivers. Okay. Williams hype train, let's go. F1 Gamer, what's your bench PR? I actually haven't hit the gym in a long time, so whatever my bench PR is a little bit too out of date. I've been doing a lot of swimming instead, to be honest. Swimming is quite nice, so yeah, no bench PR, just swimming really for me. Let me zero out the lap counter, the fastest lap counter as well. Yeah, in fact, let me just get rid of Hadjar and Sainz. They're probably not going to get some more fastest laps there, and if they do, I will add them back in to the fastest lap counter. Okay. What else have we got going on here? Ferrari having upgrades, I read somewhere. I shall have a look, because all of the teams do have to submit a document to the FIA basically just saying that, basically saying, oh, this is the upgrades that we've brought, this is the upgrades, these are the things that are changing for this weekend. Sometimes they say that these changes are specific to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We see this happen very often, say, in Monaco, where they'll bring a totally different rear wing that they haven't seen before, but it's just a Monaco-specific high downforce rear wing. Oh my goodness me, the first thing I see, I open up r/Formula 1 on Reddit to have a look at the news. Max Verstappen reportedly offered 300 million to join Aston Martin. Oh my goodness me, 300 million. Lewis Hamilton has been offered 100 million to go to Ferrari. Max Verstappen, 300 million to go to Aston Martin. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you are Max Verstappen. You are potentially, in a championship winning car this year. Next year, you don't know. You don't know if the Red Bull team are going to do well. If they're not, Adrian Newey's left the team. He's gone to Aston Martin. Do you take the 300 million? Do you go to Aston Martin? Because, of course, in one mind, you do want to win the championship. In the other mind, it's 300 million. I think Verstappen would drive for free and get a sixth world title, though. If he had the option of 300 million or drive for free and get a world title, he would definitely drive for free. So I'm not really sure, but that 300 million is crazy. Okay. So, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Pirelli. They've brought the softest tyres of their range. Well, actually, technically not the softest. They've brought the second set of softest tyres, but the C5s, the C4s, and the C3s for this weekend. And yeah, we've got a step softer than we had last year. So last year, I think we did have a one-stop race here in Saudi, but now due to the softer tyres, I suspect we will be having a two-stop race, which will always spice things up, and that will be brilliant. Okay. No, is it going to be Stroll and Verstappen? Okay, let's just consider. Is it 300 million over? If it's 300 million over 3 years, still that would be fine for him really. But wouldn't it? Who would he replace? Would he replace Alonso? Would he replace Stroll? I mean, look, I know Lawrence Stroll owns the team. But if you're paying 300 million for a driver, surely you would want to pair him up with another quick driver. Surely you don't want to, pair him up with Stroll. I'm not really sure. And my Wi-Fi is also playing up. What Wi-Fi network are you on? Palline, Virgin Media? Yeah, I think Virgin Media might just be having some issues, maybe. I'm not sure. But either way, the issues seem to be fixed. I'm no longer streaming to both Twitch and YouTube. I've plugged myself into my router, and I have also disconnected everything else from the router, so hopefully no more Wi-Fi issues till the end of the weekend. Yeah, I know Stroll can't be replaced, but also, really, you're going to sign a four-time world champion and you're going to pair him up with Lance Stroll? I don't know. Considering Max would have Adrian Newey on his side, virtually 2026 car could get back on the podium. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think Aston Martin definitely do have a chance of getting podiums next year. Race wins. I don't know. It depends on how good their engine is, because there's a lot of talk about some teams being a lot further ahead in engine development compared to others. I think RB Powertrains and Alpine and Ferrari don't have a particularly good engine reportedly for next year, and Honda and Mercedes do. So we'll just have to wait and see, really. But all right, we got 6 seconds left now. In fact, let me just get rid of this countdown timer, and we've got a lot of team radio messages coming through here. You mean Alonso's got a chance to get race wins and podiums? Yeah, that's probably a much better way to put it, actually. Yeah, Alonso's got chances, and if Verstappen goes to Aston Martin, then Verstappen will have chances. But the green light is open, and the green light is on, and the pit lane exit is open. We've got drivers making their way out. All right, we've got 5,000 people tuned in. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And be sure to hit the like button, ladies and gents. Okay, and also, we are sponsored by Surfshark VPN today. We were previously sponsored by F1 TV. I still am sponsored by them. But this weekend, I've decided to be sponsored by Surfshark VPN. And yeah, if you guys do want to watch F1 and want to watch it for a lot cheaper than F1 TV, then you can check out the link in the description. Get Surfshark VPN for, $2 a month or whatever the equivalent is in your currency, and then you can get all of the F1 footage for free via an Austrian server. So you've got to just search up Service TV after you join Surfshark and click on the Austrian VPN, and you'll get all of the Formula 1 footage for free. You'll get it, unfortunately, with German commentary, but then obviously you can listen to my commentary instead. I've also blocked the adverts. Apologies for any adverts that popped up. YouTube just likes shoving them down your face, but I've pressed the block button now. I forgot to press it with all of the Wi-Fi stuff going on, so apologies for that. Why is it counterclockwise? It's just the way the circuit is. Not all of the circuits are clockwise, and here we are in Saudi Arabia. It's the other way around. ExpressVPN, they use RAM storage, literally no logs. Yeah, I think Surfshark do the same thing as well. I was looking at their website for that when they, sponsored me just to make sure that I knew what they were doing. And yeah, they also have RAM storage as well. So doesn't look like they have any logs either. All right, we've got drivers coming out on medium tires, drivers coming out on hard tires, Red Bull with some upgrades, and I will find out which other teams have upgrades as well. In fact, we've just got Behrman, Sainz, and Ocon out on hards. Everyone else, by the looks of it, is out on medium tires. Saudi also reads like right to left, so maybe it's that. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's... They do read right to left, but I don't know if they read... I don't know if they're clockwise is anti-clockwise, or... I didn't think that's how it is anyway. Oh, Lando Norris reveals Seb Vettel supports over text. He's always helping me. That's nice to hear, of course. Seb Vettel, we've seen a lot of older drivers sort of become mentors to younger drivers. Fernando Alonso has been a very good mentor to Gabriel Bortoleto. In fact, we saw some images last year. Bortoleto and Alonso were sort of side by side, and Bortoleto had printed off some telemetry, and they were going through the telemetry, and Alonso was describing, oh, this is what you got to do at this part of the circuit, and you're braking a little bit too early here. So yeah, it's quite interesting actually how we see some. I mean, it's very similar to Cars 3, if you will. Of course, not everyone here is Cars fans, but if you are, then how Lightning McQueen became a mentor to Cruz Ramirez after he, wasn't the quickest driver on the field. So Alonso's doing the same thing to Bortoleto. Vettel sending some nice messages of support to Norris. Alonso's his manager as well. I'm sure that helps. I don't know if Alonso is his manager, actually. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I thought Alonso was just sort of his mentor, not his manager. All right. Anyway, same with Webber and Piastri. Indeed it is. Webber and Piastri are sort of, they are in a tandem partnership. I think Webber is Piastri's manager, I think, in that situation. I don't think Alonso is Bortoleto's manager, because Alonso's still got driving to do, so... Alright, always like and get notifications for the upcoming streams. Yeah, YouTube's actually been doing this weird thing recently where even if you ask to get notifications from my channel, it will not send you notifications, which is, well, quite annoying. Oh, we've already got traffic issues here. Lando Norris is on a quick lap and has been blocked coming out of the final corner. Always good to see, isn't it? Traffic issues in practice, and yeah, not ideal, to be honest. Not ideal whatsoever. And just to clarify, I was being sarcastic when I was saying it's good to see traffic issues. Yeah. Cars the only analogy you could come up with. I mean, Cars is the analogy that comes to mind straight away, because I'm a pretty big Cars fan. All right, Oscar Piastri, purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector. Looking good, looking good. Okay. What's going on with Sainz? Is Sainz glitching? Let me have a look. Where is Sainz actually on the map right now? He is currently driving through. Honestly, it's kind of annoying here that maybe I should make the text for all of the drivers a little bit smaller, because you can't really read them. They keep overlapping on top of each other. So let me know, folks, if should I make it smaller? Should I make all of the circles a little bit smaller for free practice 2, because they are sort of just overlapping everyone and you can't really read what's going on. Yeah, Sainz is glitching out a little bit. I suspect it's just a GPS issue once again. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. I shall do that. I don't know if I can do that right now. Let's have a look. Hopefully this doesn't crash all of the data. I'm going to hope that it doesn't, but I have no guarantees. We've got 7,400 people tuned in. Hopefully it doesn't crash all of the data. I will continue on with the commentary regardless. And we've just got a couple of drivers doing their initial setup laps here. We're on lap times of 131s, and I think we'll be getting down to the 127s, 128s by the time we get to quali. So still got a lot of breathing room for the drivers. They're not pushing whatsoever. And this is one of those circuits where you don't really want to be pushing from the get-go. You want to slowly build up your pace, and yeah, that's what the drivers will be doing. Let me see the size of the cars on the track map. I can I think I can make that smaller. Let me. Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. They're just getting smaller there. There we go. Okay. Um. Is that better, for ladies and gents? I don't want to make them too small because obviously there are people on their phones who are reading them as well. So ideally, don't make them large enough so people can still read them off their phones. Oh, we've just got a lock up here from Gasly coming out the final corner. Yeah, a lot of drivers will be locking up here. Track temperature is up at 49 degrees. I've got to add that in as well. Hamilton goes wide going through turn number, I think that's turn number 22, but honestly, these turns all look the same. Okay, I'm on a phone and it's perfect. Too small, please. Okay, I'm going to make it slightly bigger. The size previously was 28. I suspect 32 should do it. Okay, that should be fine. All right. Can you make the corner numbers smaller? Yeah, I'll do all of that stuff. I'll do that after FP2 finishes. Surfshark's a new sponsor. Indeed, they are. Surfshark are sponsoring this stream, and well, depending on how this goes, then depending on how many of you guys sign up and stuff, then we'll maybe have Surfshark next weekend as well. All right, Oscar Piastri over the radio saying the drink is leaking. It's worse than last weekend. It's almost like the drivers, it's not the drivers, sorry, the F1 engineers can engineer the quickest cars the world has ever seen. They can go at ridiculous speeds, but they cannot engineer a drink system. It's a little bit baffling, to be honest. Well, I know why I know why they can't engineer the drink system. It's purely because they don't really care about the drink system, if we're being honest. It is obviously critical around the circuits when in the deserts, but on the drink system is a pretty low priority item. You know, you got to make sure the engine doesn't shake itself to pieces. You got to make sure the front wing doesn't disintegrate while you're driving over curbs and things like that. They've got much bigger priorities, and that's why we see so many drinks issues with so many drivers. All right, Verstappen up into second place. Good lap from him. Norris goes top of the times, improves on his previous best. And we've got Piastri on a flying lap here. Purple in the first sector, looking good in the middle sector, and we'll see what he can do once he comes across the line. He's just got the final corner left to go. What's it going to be here for Oscar Piastri? Here he comes. And across the line he goes. Second place for him. Very nice. A 10th back from his teammate. Seems like the upgrades are working for Max. Well, it's a little early to say the upgrades are working. We have no idea what the fuel loads are or how hard the drivers are pushing. Which commentary guy, this is the fast track, which team is strong on this circuit? Well, this is the thing here in Saudi Arabia, because the circuit is so high speed, but there's also a lot of corners where downforce is critical. It's not like, say, in Monaco where you need maximum downforce and the car with the maximum downforce wins, and it's not like in Monza where it's the car with the minimum drag, the car with the highest top speed wins. It's the most aerodynamically efficient car, so the car that will give you the most downforce for the least amount of drag possible, and that's probably going to be the McLarens, considering they haven't been having these considering they are the fastest car, and that's normally a very critical factor. Oh, Albon's GPS is also bugging out a little bit. I suspect it might be a Williams thing if Sainz was having issues earlier, and Alonso's teleporting as well. But yeah, as I was saying, the car with the most aerodynamic efficiency is going to be doing the best around here, and a car that can also switch his tyres on quite quickly because it's a very low degradation circuit, so the track surface doesn't cause a lot of overheating. So if the track surface isn't causing the overheating, then the drivers are going to have to be able to, or not the drivers, the car is going to have to be able to warm up the tyres quickly, and if it can't do that, then the drivers are going to struggle on their quali laps. So yeah, there's a couple of factors that are going to play into it, but I suspect it will just be the McLarens that are the best here. Maybe we'll see the Alpines do quite well as well because, well, Gasly, of course, had a fantastic qualifying last weekend out in Bahrain, and typically, you know, you'd expect Bahrain to be a circuit where you need outright power. I don't know who is this teleporting off the screen here, but oh, a huge lock up here for one of the Hasses. Is that Ocon or is that Bearman. Oh, it's Bearman there. Big lock up into turn number 1 there for Oliver Bearman, and he's going to have to drive back very slowly with those tyres. F1 Gamer, can you increase the screen size? I'm asking this for a long time. My eyes hurt. Oh, this is I don't know which bit you want me to make bigger. I mean, I think this is the fine for the majority of people, but F1 Gamer, could you explain what the different colours for the sectors mean? So a purple sector is a driver going fastest out of any driver on the track. We have got green sectors that are the fastest out of their personal best. So we've got drivers on their personal best, that's a green sector. A yellow sector means it's slower than their personal best. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with Hamilton. His GPS is having a field day. And and blue here, just as you can see over here, that's coming in or out of the pit lane. So yeah, green here, quicker than your personal best. Yellow, slower than your personal best. Blue coming in the pit lane or coming out of the pit lane or going back into the pit lane. And purple is the fastest out of any driver on the track. All right. No rookies this weekend. Yeah, no rookies this weekend in FP1. And the reason why we have no rookies in FP1 is because this circuit is so difficult. You want to give all of the drivers maximum time to settle into the car, to sort of build up to the speed, get the muscle memory back and flowing again, because any time lost, the drivers have 3 hours of practice that they have qualifying then the race. And we saw Bearman last year out. He stepped in for the first time into a Formula 1 car in a qualifying session. He had 45 minutes practice, I think, in FP3, and then into qualifying he managed to keep everything under control. But you can't say that for everyone, and it's not. And it was really a miracle that Bearman didn't put it into the barriers. So yeah, the drivers want as much time as possible, and because of that, the teams don't give FP1 time in Saudi. It's a very similar story in Monaco as well. They're not going to be giving out free practice 1 sessions to rookies because it's way too risky. The chances that they crash very, very high. So you're much better off just giving your normal drivers time to settle into the cars. The reason Bearman is F1 is because the world champions were shocked with what he did with so little practice. Indeed, yeah, one of the hardest circuits on the track, on the calendar, he managed to, with only 45 minutes of practice, managed to out-qualify Lewis Hamilton, do not that much. He wasn't even that slow. I think he got P11 in qualifying and then got 7th place or 6th place in the race or something. It was an outstanding performance, and that is what got him the seat, really. He stepped in for Sainz that weekend and then stepped in for Haas on 2 occasions after that. And then they were like, right, well, this guy looks good. He hasn't crashed the car too much. He is delivering good performances. We'll sign him for next year. Okay. Oh, George Russell, what a lap there. Up into first place he goes. Solid job. We've got Gabriel Bortoleto going wide at the final corner. Yeah, a lot of drivers struggling here. Final corner and the first corner as well. This is another thing around Saudi Arabia. We had not really a similar story in Bahrain. Bahrain was a little bit of a different circuit, but because here in Saudi Arabia, the drivers very rarely press the brakes for very long. In Bahrain, we've got huge braking zones and multiple of them as well. So the drivers are on the brakes very often, and we were having issues with sort of brake failure in Bahrain. Here in Saudi, it's the exact opposite thing. The drivers are only pressing the brakes into the final corner, into the first corner, and into turn number 13. 3 big braking zones around the circuit, and apart from that, you haven't really got heavy braking zones around here. So if we have a look here, George Russell driving through the lap at this part of the circuit, he's going to go on here, tap the brakes here at turn 16, then continues on until turn number 22, taps the brakes again, and then gets to the final corner. And the brakes are way too cold by the time he gets to this point, and we're going to see some lockups into the final corner like we saw with Bortoleto. We're going to see some lockups into turn number 1, and then more lockups here into this turn number 13 it is, because, well, the brakes just aren't going to have enough temperature because the drivers aren't going to be using them. Oh, Piastri, I touched the wall a little bit. Can you check that? That's what he says over the radio. So yeah, the drivers are going to have to be careful here, and we're going to see a lot of radio messages being like, "Oh, I just tapped the wall here. I just touched the floor. Can you check the car?" Does this track have a lot of track evolution? Yeah, it will. Mainly because it doesn't get used a lot over the course of the year. It's mainly only, I think, Formula One come here. I don't even think MotoGP, a Formula Two race here. But yeah, apart from that, we're just gonna have fairly standard levels of track evolution, to be honest. Because the track is still yet to be rubbered in. How's Verstappen doing? Verstappen not so bad really. He's on his medium tyre run and doing lap times of 1:30. So really, has got a lot of lap time left to go. And they never fixed the transponders. Indeed, I don't know what's going on here. Everyone just seems to be teleporting. I do apologise for the issues here, but Tsunoda's just teleported back onto our screen. I have no idea what's going on here with the GPS. All right, got 9,500 people tuned in. Thank you everyone for tuning in, ladies and gents. And I hope to see you along for free practice 2. It will be a pleasure to commentate to you guys. What else have we got going on the coverage right now? No, everyone's just nobody's not a big crash as of yet. We're only 15 minutes into the session. The rookies though, let's keep an eye out here. We've got Behrman in the pits as of now. He's driven at this circuit before, at least in a Formula 1 car. Hadjar, Lawson, Antonelli, they're all going to be going much slower than their teammates. Look at that. Antonelli across the line, he's a second slower than Russell. Both of them, of course, not pushing, but still Antonelli a second behind, and that is purely just because he has not driven at the circuit before. He knows that he can't afford to just knock it into the barriers, and he's going to have to be very careful about what he's doing. Just tuned in. Are there GPS issues again? Indeed there are. Indeed there are GPS issues. Hopefully they get fixed, but there's no guarantee. Okay, we've got doing across the line, 13th place here. Yeah, I think we may see all of the rookies sort of get out qualified by their teammates this weekend, purely just because they haven't driven at this circuit before, with the notable exception of Oliver Behrman, because Behrman has of course driven at this circuit before and is, by the looks of it, quite good at it. He was quite good in Formula 2, in fact. In Formula 2 he was doing quite well that weekend, and then they were like, right, well, let's promote him to Formula 1, and he did fantastically. So Behrman might outqualify Ocon, but apart from that, I think all of the rookies will get outqualified by their teammates here. And it's just one of those circuits. Tilke designed this track too. I think Tilke did. I don't know actually. I'm not certain on who designed this circuit, but it might have been Tilke. Ladies and gents, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. Very much is appreciated. And yeah, let's continue on with the coverage. As of right now, we are 20 minutes into the free practice 1 session. Leclerc, Gasly, Stroll, Doohan, Ocon, Hamilton, Tsunoda are out on the track. Alonso is out as well. Yeah, starting a flying lap there. Coming across the line for a flying lap. 10th place for Fernando Alonso on 9-lap-old medium tyres. A ton of folks for a free practice 1 stream. Indeed, I think it's looking good here. I mean, I can see on the YouTube stats how many times we get new people watching the stream and how many times we get people watching the stream who've previously watched streams before. And the number of people that are tuning in that have previously watched streams is going up. So yeah, there's people tuning in, that tune in for the first time in Bahrain and they were like, oh, like the coverage, and then are tuning in again today. So yeah, thanks to all you guys that are tuning in. Very much is appreciated. All right, we got Albon across the line, 6th place for him. Yeah, Williams looking good here. Williams do have a tendency. Oh, Tsunoda as well. He's only 2/10 back from his teammate, which is looking good here for Yuki Tsunoda. Yeah, Williams typically have a history of being pretty aerodynamically efficient. Like, they're not slow in a straight line whatsoever, and they're typically pretty slippery. If you look back through the years, Williams and Force India, those two cars were always very aerodynamically efficient, and it's critical around the circuit to be efficient. So Williams may have a shot here of getting through into Q3, with both cars getting through into Q3. I think Sainz is finally getting up to speed in that Mercedes car, and I think that he'll have a real shot, not the Mercedes car, in that Mercedes power unit car, and I think he'll have a real shot of competing with Albon this weekend. Who would get promoted if Verstappen leaves Red Bull? Oh, well, that's a question, isn't it? That's a tough one, isn't it? I guess they'd have to go with Lawson, no? Even though Lawson, got demoted, it wouldn't make much sense to put Hadjar in the car because he's got even less experience than Lawson has. And unless they want to call up Valtteri Bottas, I'm sure Bottas would be happy to drive for Red Bull. He's currently a Mercedes test driver, and that'll be even better for the Red Bull team. They'll get some more insights from Valtteri Bottas about what's going on at Mercedes. So maybe they'll call up Bottas if Verstappen leaves. Yeah, I'm not sure. They're not going to call Perez up. Daniel Ricciardo, maybe, but I think it's a bit of a long shot now to get Danny back in the car and being right up to speed at his prime. We remember all Daniel Ricciardo at his prime at Red Bull in 2018 and 2017 it was fantastic, so late on the brakes and every overtaking opportunity. But then, that dropped off at Renault, and then he went to McLaren, and it never really recovered. And then he went to AlphaTauri, and still he wasn't amazingly quick. So I don't know if Daniel Ricciardo is going to be making his way back. The track is not a permanent track, it's a road circuit. No, I think it is a permanent track. It looks like a road circuit because it's very narrow, but I think it is a permanent circuit. It's as if currently on the track I can't see any road markings. I can't see any arrows or painted white lines that we typically do see in Monaco, that we typically see in Australia. But no, we don't see that here, so I suspect it is a permanent circuit. Okay, I'll show you where DRS is on this track as well. We've got DRS here where Gasly is right now between turn number 19 and 22. Just over here, we've got DRS down this straight here where Doohan is and where Lawson, I think, just teleported off the screen. Oh no, Lawson's just gone into the pits. Oh, so the GPS. So whenever a driver goes into the pits or comes out of the pits, that's when the GPS, everyone teleports off the map. Okay. And we also have DRS, just again where Gasly is right now, between turn number 24 and turn number 27. Yeah, so that is the three DRS zones around here. And 3 DRS zones, more than enough. And we should have some good overtaking chances going into into the final corner, into the first corner. We've seen a lot of action back in 2021. We'll be seeing the same thing again this weekend. Arby's looking good this weekend. Chance for Verstappen podium. Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance for a podium here. We already know that Verstappen is very good around this circuit. He can hook up a nearly perfect lap. He almost did it in 2021, and maybe we'll see another one of those laps from Verstappen. We know that from this point on, if Verstappen has got to win this championship, is going to win this championship, he's going to need absolutely perfect weekends, weekend in, weekend out. Like, McLaren are a significant chunk ahead of the Red Bulls. Red Bulls do have 3 upgrades planned. They've got an upgrade this weekend, upgrade next weekend, and upgrade the weekend after that as well. 3 upgrades planned, but sooner or later, Red Bull are going to switch off development for the car, and they're going to be like, right, time to focus on 2026. So when that point happens, Verstappen, it will just be down to him and every little bit of performance that he can extract from the car if he wants to win the championship this year. So, yeah. He's going to have to perform perfectly, and I suspect we'll be getting some mega quick laps like we saw in Suzuka again from him. Yeah, this is the other thing. We saw a very similar story in 2021 where Red Bull were developing their car very late into the season in 2020. Yeah, in 2021, and Mercedes had sort of, I think, backed off their upgrades because they wanted to focus on 2022. Red Bull also did, but Red Bull went maybe 2-3 weekends more developing the 2021 car before they completely switched over to 2022, and yeah, that's the sort of issue with these. Not an issue. It's really an interesting thing about these rule change years where we've got a big rule change the following year. So that at some point, sooner or later, one of the teams is going to have to compromise. You either compromise next season or you compromise this season. McLaren have a shot of winning the championship this year. Arguably with Lando Norris, arguably with Oscar Piastri, they're sooner or later they're going to have to choose which driver it's going to be, or the drivers are just going to choose for them. And also, they're going to have to decide when to switch off development, because, you know, they could develop an extra upgrade package and then they could go on to win the Drivers' Championship, or they could not do that and they could have a really good car for 2026. It's a difficult one to answer, and you know, I'm glad that I'm the one that doesn't have to answer that question. It's going to be Zach Brown in the deciding position there. Okay, 6.1 kilometer long track. Yeah, this circuit is one of the longer ones, actually. We'll only have 50 laps of racing around here. 6 kilometers long circuit. Were there any crashes? No crashes so far. We are, half an hour into this session now, so no crashes so far this session. Alright, we've got 9,500 people tuned in. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the coverage. If you are enjoying the stream, then be sure to hit the like button. And if you guys do want to watch Formula 1 for a very cheap price, then if you get the link to Surfshark VPN in the description, then you can click on the Austrian VPN. You join the Austrian VPN server, and then you search up Service TV, and you can watch Formula 1 on there for free. Well, yeah, it's for free on Service TV, and you do have to pay for Surfshark VPN, but it's about 10 times cheaper than getting F1 TV, so do with that what you will. The link is blocked for me. Yeah, actually, I think if you just search up Service TV, then it'll work, but yeah, I don't know if the link isn't working, then it might be to do with your internet provider, actually. Yeah, I think at least here in the UK, there are some internet providers. I think Virgin Media will block, like if you search VPN on Virgin Media Wi-Fi, sometimes it will block your search. So yeah, that might be why. Okay. We got Sainz up in second place there, looking real good. Is Carlos Sainz. And we've got a purple first sector here from Oscar Piastri on a flying lap, just coming through turn number 13 there. Leclerc gets out of the way nicely. Behrman rejoins the circuit. And yeah, Oscar Piastri is looking really good here. In fact, I'll take you through a lap here. We've got, let's see, Carlos Sainz, is he starting a flying lap now? No, I think Sainz is coming into the pits. Yeah, Sainz is coming into the pits. We've got Verstappen, though. Verstappen's starting a flying lap, so we'll go on board here. Pretty much on board with Verstappen. Maybe we'll skip forward a few seconds, but this is essentially what Verstappen's doing here. Probably the driving's going to be a lot better than what mine is, but we're going to go on board here with what Verstappen will probably be doing on the circuit, on a flying lap, on a set of soft tyres. So you make your way down towards turn number 1, brake at the 100-metre mark, drive all over the curbs here. They're not particularly vicious at this circuit. Then you go right up to the wall here, and you can't really exceed track limits, because if you exceed track limits, you're into the barriers anyway. So you go right up to the wall, dab the brakes here over the curbs on the entry, and then this part of the circuit you've got to lift ever so slightly going through these parts, but if you can hold it flat, then of course it's quicker. And you make your way down towards turn number 13. This is the second big braking zone of the lap here, and your brakes have really cooled down, so you've got to be careful not to lock up. You go kind of deep here, get a late apex, and then carry as much speed as possible down this back straight. You make your way now across to the next couple of corners and tap the brakes, flick them right, and now you have DRS coming through this part of the circuit through turns number 19, 20, 21. They're all little kinks in the road. Hopefully there's no traffic ahead of you, and then you tap the brakes here, flick it left for turn number 22. Stay out of the barriers there. It's very easy to crash into those barriers. If the rear slides around, you're right into the barriers. I think Mick Schumacher did it when he was driving in 2021. And then you've got the final big braking zone here. Once again, your brakes are super cold, so you've got to make sure that they are warmed up before you get onto the brakes fully and hit that final apex. Stay within track limits, don't hit the barrier, and out of the final corner you go. And by the looks of it, Max Verstappen up into 4th place with that lap time. Very nicely done. Alright, so that is a lap of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix circuit. We got Norris top of the times here. He goes 4/10 quicker than George Russell, which is astonishingly quick, to be honest, from Lando Norris. 1:29.2, incredible. half a second quicker than his teammate. Verstappen, he's 6/10 quicker than Verstappen. So, yeah, great lap there from Norris. We'll see what the other drivers can respond with sooner or later. Charles Leclerc, 4th place for him. Fantastic lap there, and hopefully the Ferraris can make a bit of a better showing than they did last weekend out. I then thank you for the £10 donation. Thanks, one of the few practice sessions I bothered to watch long. Will Verstappen show pace again? Well, Red Bull have brought upgrades this weekend. Verstappen is looking pretty good. We haven't had any messages over the radio about him complaining so much, so maybe things have got slightly better, but we don't really know. Once we get to qualifying, and the interviews after qualifying finished, we'll really find out, has the Red Bull car improved, has it not? But they are bringing 3 upgrades packages. They're bringing 1 for Saudi Arabia, 1 for Miami, 1 for Imola, and the one they brought this weekend so far looks all right. Okay. Ooh, the driver's getting so close to the barriers here. We're just watching a replay, and I think this is Pierre Gasly millimeters away from the wall. Is it Gasly or is it Doohan? I think it's actually Doohan. But nonetheless, yeah, the driver's millimeters away from the wall. Oh no, it was Gasly. Going through turn number 4, I think it is. Yeah. Okay. Right, what else have we got going on then? Oh, okay. Well, you know how I was saying that Verstappen hasn't complained? Verstappen said it's still my first sector. Turn 1 and 2 just can't turn the car. So yeah, as I said, Verstappen wasn't complaining. He clearly is now, and he's complaining about the car not turning, which is the issues that he's been complaining about for like the last half the season now. The car not turning as much as he would like, and yeah, not ideal there. So turn number 1 and 2, that might just be a tyre warm-up issue though. You do have to take into account here that he's just done 1 warm-up lap, so it's quite a long warm-up lap, but if his tyres still aren't up to temperature and he's only having issues at turn number 1 and 2, that could indicate his tyres just aren't up to temperature, and if he warms them up a little bit more, then he should be good. Alright, Tsunoda as well, across the line he goes, and he's only, half a tenth back, 1/10 back from his teammate, so looking good there for Yuki Tsunoda. What is the tyre degradation like at this circuit? Well, typically around here it's quite low, mainly because the surface is very smooth. As you may know, Saudi Arabia is a new circuit, and it's a new one that's been added to the calendar, and hence it's been made quite recently. The asphalt is very smooth, so the upside to that is that there aren't that many bumps. The cars can run a lot lower to the ground. However, the downside, tyre wear isn't so high. But Pirelli, in their wise wisdom, has... I should say that much more often. In their wise wisdom, what a nice saying. But anyway, Pirelli have brought a step softer tyres than they brought last year. So that means the tyres are going to wear out quicker because they're just a compound softer than they were last year, which is a good thing. Hopefully we get a 2-stop race. That will be fantastic. Even Hülkenberg is faster than Hamilton. Yeah, a very good lap there from Nico Hülkenberg as well. And this is one of the circuits where a driver can make an impact, because there are 27 corners. Admittedly, not a lot of them. You can't really consider all of them corners, but a lot of corners, and there are very small, and it's quite a long lap as well, so there are small places where drivers can pick up lap time here and there and make a real difference. We'll just have to wait and see what happens once we get to qualifying. F1 Game, have you ever been to an F1 race? No, actually I haven't. I would quite like to go to Spa, but for now the channel's doing quite well, and I would like to keep the momentum going. So I'll hold off for a while. Maybe yeah, I think if I was to go to an F1 race, maybe I'd meet some of you guys. Of course, then you'd get a face reveal as well. That would be that'd be interesting, but we'll see. Wise wisdom, you're turning into Murray Walker. Well, thanks for the compliment. Yeah, stealing that quote in there. Wise wisdom, fantastic diss. Yeah. Okay. What else have we got going on the circuit? We are going to get 2 sets of hot laps here. Piastri does improve on his second hot lap. He's done this on a used set of tyres, and he manages to go within 2/10 of his teammate. But of course, a used set of tyres, so maybe if he hooked up all of those sectors on his first flying lap rather than his second, he could have been on par with Lando Norris. We'll see what Norris can do on his second flying lap, but he's not improved in the first sector. In fact, he goes 3 seconds slower in the first sector. It looks like he made a mistake going through there. And yeah, his lap time is going to be significantly off because of that. Okay. Do live commentary from that race? Yeah, I think I could. It would just need a good enough internet connection. I don't know if I went to Spa, if I'd have a good enough internet connection in the middle of a forest. But I'm sure it could be done. You think this track is the most challenging after Monaco? The chicanes are insane. Well, yeah, okay, this is one of the more challenging circuits, but I don't know if I would put this more challenging than Suzuka. I'm not sure. It's definitely up there, to be honest, with the challenging circuits. That's why here we are in a free practice 1 session and no rookies are out on the track. Pierre Gasly once again. Oh my goodness me. Great lap here from Gasly, and he's up into first place, 7/10 ahead of Lando Norris. But what was I saying? What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Is this circuit more complicated and difficult than Monaco? I would say it's up there with Monaco, and I think Suzuka as well is close. And yeah, the reason why, and you can definitely say it's a complicated circuit because here in FP1 we haven't got any rookies out on the track. Normally we would have the Friday rookies, the drivers that are in Formula 2 and Formula 3 looking to get some experience in the Formula 1 cars, but we have none of that this weekend because, well, the teams don't want to risk the rookies crashing into the barriers. Pierre Gasly up into first position. Charles Leclerc on a quick lap as well. He's purple through the first sector. He comes out of the final corner here. He's using DRS as well, right up to the barriers, millimetres away. And that scarlet Ferrari comes across the start-finish line. What's it going to be for Charles Leclerc? He's up into third place and he goes the 10th back from Gasly. Looking good here for Charles Leclerc. He's done this on his second set of tyres, second lap as well. So drivers still improving on their second lap. That's not really because the tyres aren't wearing out. That's much more so that the drivers are slowly unlocking the pace of the circuit. You know, they have to slowly build up to these things. If you go maximum attack, you are going to crash. And normally, you know, we see Verstappen go out onto the circuit and he goes maximum attack regardless of what track it is. Let it be Monaco, Saudi Arabia. But even here, with the slightly undrivable Red Bull, in his opinion, yeah, he's not gone maximum attack, and clearly he's down in 7th position behind the Williams of Carlos Sainz. Right. Everyone cooking except Hamilton. Yeah, I mean, look at this. The Ferrari drivers are in the same car, and the pace difference is 0.6 of a second. We saw this last weekend as well. Charles Leclerc was 0.6 ahead of Lewis Hamilton in qualifying, and here we are again in FP1. Not ideal there for Lewis, not ideal. Hamilton says he's learning about the car, so I don't think he's going all out in practice. Yeah, that is true, but also, well, we'll see once we get to qualifying. We'll see once we get to qualifying, because as of right now, a free practice 1, this is the most unrepresentative session that we've got. The track is not rubbered in. Track temperature is about 10-15 degrees higher than what we're going to see in qualifying anyway. So yeah, as it says on the bottom of the screen, the FP1 and FP3 sessions are not representative because, well, they're not particularly representative because the track temperatures are way too hot. And F1 Gamer is focusing on this year's car rather than 2026 to retain Verstappen, a good decision for Red Bull's future. Well, actually, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Verstappen, in this current state of mind, he wants to win the championship this year, and I don't think he would really want to compromise on that. He wants to get maybe 5 in a row and win 5 championships in a row. Has that been done before? I don't think it has. Vettel won 4 in a row. I don't think anyone has won 5 championships in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think so. Did Schumacher do it? Oh, Schumacher did. Okay. Fangio's won 5 world titles, but I don't think he did them in a row. I think there was one championship that he lost one year and then won the following year. But Schumacher, okay, so Schumacher's done 5 championships in a row. So Verstappen, I'm sure, would want to go on and match that. So Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Because the thing is, they can say, oh, Max, we're going to stop developing this year's car because we want to focus on 2026. Verstappen, firstly, doesn't know if he's going to be with Red Bull in 2026. And secondly, even if they do start developing the car for 2026, there's no guarantee that it's going to be a championship winning car. And so it's really a probability thing. Does Verstappen think that he has a higher chance of winning the championship next year in 2026, or does he have a better chance of winning it this year in 2025? And with all of the uncertainty next year, and with Red Bull powertrains, coming out and saying that they would prefer to start from scratch and change the engine regulations, which kind of indicates that their engine development situation isn't going all that great. I have a feeling Max Verstappen would much prefer to win the championship this year than rather than hang on the possibility that he could win it next year. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Do you guys think Verstappen is considering moving to Aston Martin? Well, once he heard the $300 million dollar offer over the phone, apparently, then I'm sure he will at least consider it. I'm not sure whether he'll do it or not. Yeah, Schumacher won 2000. Okay, 2000, 01, 02, 03, 04. Yeah. Okay. No, I thought, for whatever reason, I thought that Schumacher won 99 and then Hakkinen won 2000, but it was obviously the other way around. Hakkinen won 99 and Schumacher won 2000. They could start from the Ford EcoBoost V6 instead of collaborating with Ford. Yeah, they are collaborating with Ford, but the thing is, I don't know if Ford's EcoBoost V6 is up to Formula One spec. We'll wait and see. No Honda, no win. Yeah, Honda, they have, of course, lost their Honda power partnership. Honda said that they were going to be leaving the sport. They're no longer going to be providing engines for Formula One for their net zero responsibilities and things like that. And then, so they were like, oh, we're not going to be working with you, Red Bull. Sorry. And I think about 2-3 months later, they were like to Aston Martin, oh yeah, we want to go back into Formula One. We'll design engines for you. So clearly, things haven't worked out between Red Bull and Honda as they would have liked. Do you think we're going to see soft tyres this race week? Soft tyres, I didn't think so, actually. We could have seen soft tyres last year in Saudi Arabia, but this year, because Pirelli have brought a step softer tyres, soft tyres do seem like a tough choice to have for the race. Yeah. What has Gasly done? I mean, Gasly has just done fantastic lap after fantastic lap. He's on his. I don't know if you guys watched Formula One back in 2021, but we saw Gasly get it into 5th place, 6th place every single qualifying session in 2021. He was so consistent in that AlphaTauri, and he was looking so good. And I think we're seeing the return of 2021 Gasly. Here we are, 4 years later. Some serious performance from him, and the Alpine is looking very nice. Alright, we've got 10,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button, very much is appreciated. And if you guys are interested in watching Formula One for only $2 a month, then there's a link in the description for Surfshark VPN. Just buy that. Then join the Austrian VPN server and search up Servers TV, and you can watch all of the F1 footage for only $2 a month rather than $20 with F1 TV. So that's how you get Formula One coverage for a cheaper price. But of course, it's German commentary, so you have to mute the coverage and then listen to my commentary over that. Okay. What are Russell's chances of a World Drivers' Championship? Well, Russell has been sort of this, what would I say, dark horse. Yeah, he's currently in the standings in 4th position. He's only 6 points back from Max, who's in 3rd place, and he's only, how many points is that? 14 points back from Lando Norris. He's really not that far back, and the Mercedes is improving. So if Mercedes can bring maybe an upgrade or two, and they can get their car to match the McLarens, then I suspect Russell will have a fantastic chance. Yeah. But I don't know, Mercedes have been struggling a lot with their upgrade packages like in this new generation of regulations. Their upgrade packages haven't worked as expected. They've took a little while to dial them in. Even last year they were bringing upgrades, and we'd only see the proper performance of the upgrade package maybe 3 weekends later after they finally figured out the setup for the car. So if they can sort those issues out and George Russell can actually have a car that is improved the weekend of the upgrade, then he'll have a good shot potentially for the championship. I heard that Carlos was fined. I don't know. I don't know exactly what you're referring to. Sainz was fined about what? He did retire last weekend's race, but I don't know what he could be fined for. How many laps left? We don't. There's no limited number of laps here in free practice 1. The drivers have 1 hour to drive around, and we've had 45 minutes of that 1 hour. We've got 14 minutes remaining of the session. Probably medium, hard. The hard would hurt the last of the trackers who evolved the most. Yeah, medium, hard could work, or medium, hard, medium could also work, because at the end of the race you also want... Science is saying something over... Science is complaining about how the Ferrari was dealing with traffic. Interesting. I don't know if he was complaining about Leclerc or Hamilton, but either way, traffic is a bit of an issue around this circuit. There's a lot of blind corners, and you just kind of have to rely on the fact that your engineer is going to communicate everything to you. So we'll see how that works. Maybe we'll get some grid penalties handed out in qualifying. And what was I saying about the tyres? Oh yeah, you also do kind of want the softer tyres at the end of the race, because that's when all of the actual overtaking is being taken place, like for position, not for a net race lead or anything like that, the actual position that you're going to be finishing the race in. So sometimes it's preferential to have the softer tyre for the final stint, and we might see medium, hard, medium, but it's quite likely that we are going to see a 2-stop race here, because Pirelli have brought a step softer tyres compared to last year. Okay. What else have we got going on here? Do you think Tsunoda will stay with Red Bull next season, or will he be able to get another seat? Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? I think Tsunoda's actually he's not doing half bad here, is he? He is only a little bit behind Verstappen. In fact, on his previous best lap, he was only 3 milliseconds slower than Verstappen, so he's right on pace there. So, sooner or later, once Max Verstappen picks the pace up for qualifying properly, he'll probably be 2-3 tenths back. But nonetheless, I don't think Tsunoda's doing a particularly bad job that would sort of lead Red Bull to fire him. We saw Sergio Perez consistently be doing bad jobs last year, and still he managed to keep his seat for quite a while. So I think Tsunoda will probably keep his seat if he can keep up with Max for the remainder of the season. It all really depends. But the thing is, even if he can't keep up with Max, who are they going to replace Tsunoda with? They have the potential to replace him with Hadjar, but Hadjar is also not all that experienced. So who do you replace him with? Like, I don't know. Are Verstappen using DRS while doing their race runs, especially with Verstappen, Norris at F1 Gamer? Well, honestly, I have no idea if they're using DRS or not, but actually they will probably be using DRS on their race runs. It just depends on that. If you have a look at their lap times, really, you can tell. And their speed trap speeds 3:06. Actually, they're probably not. Yeah, apologies there for that correction. They are not using DRS. We just look at the speed trap speeds here. They're doing 303 kilometers per hour. With the DRS open, they could reach around 320, or 327. So they're most definitely not using DRS because, well, they're going significantly slower down the straights. Okay. Replace Yuki with Vettel? Yeah. I mean, I'd love for Vettel to come back to the sport, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. What else have we got going on here? We've got 10,000 people tuned into the stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Hopefully we can make our way towards 2,000 likes. That would be incredible. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys around for the Free Practice 2, Free Practice 3 sessions as well. We'll have qualifying later tomorrow, and we'll have the race, of course, on Sunday. It'll be great. Okay, what other things have we got going on here? not all that much. We've got the drivers coming back out onto the circuit here on medium tyres. They're all doing long runs now with high track temperature long runs, and then they're going to compare that to lower track temperature long runs as well. What time is FP2? Let me have a look. So FP2, whatever time it is now in the world, FP2 will be in 2.5 hours. So 2 hours and 28 minutes. Oh no, 2 hours and 38 minutes. That's when it will be. Is the pit short here? Quick pit stops. The pits are actually quite long, I think, at this circuit. I think it's a longer pit stop than normal. Normally we have pit stops of around 20. The drivers lose 21 or 23 seconds in the pit lane. I think here in Saudi Arabia it's 25. I shall double check that though. I'm trying to remember that from last year, and my memory isn't that good. Let me just get all of the stats up in a sec. Right. What else have we got going on? Miss Checo, yeah, Checo would have been pretty good around this circuit. We do know that he is quite good around the street circuits here. Oh no, actually, apologies here. The driver, we do have a short pit stop time here. They must have changed the pit lane entry or something, because pit lane lost time is only 19 seconds. Normally it's 22 seconds, 23 seconds at your typical circuit. Here, where the drivers are only losing 19 seconds. So two stops are much more likely because of the short pit stop time. You know, normally, say at another circuit, if you wanted to do a two-stop strategy, you're going to spend an extra 20 seconds in the pits compared to a one-stop, or 25 seconds in the pits. Now you're only going to be spending 19 seconds in the pits. So big lap time saving there, and that should help the chances of us having a two-stop race. Brilliant. Gasly has the slowest and the fastest lap. Well, that was Gasly's previous out lap, I think. Just counting the last time he went into the pits and came back out again. But yeah, he has the quickest lap time as of right now, and he's looking good here, up quicker than Norris's lap time by 7 milliseconds. Okay. Lawson's off to quite a dumpster fire of a career start. Yeah, not ideal. I mean, he shouldn't have really been put at the Red Bull team to start off with. That's the thing. It's not his own fault, to be honest. He was no rookie driver is really ever prepared to go up against Max Verstappen. You should never really put a rookie up against a world champion. And the only rookie that I can remember that has had a good time against a world champion is Lewis Hamilton. You know, when he joined McLaren in 2007, after Alonso won in 2006, in 2007 he was up against a world champion and put up a fantastic fight. But apart from that, we've seen Stoffel Van Dorn up against Fernando Alonso in 2018. Career ended. After that season, we saw. Who else have we seen? We saw... actually, I'd say... I can't actually remember. There haven't actually been that many driver pairings where a rookie gets paired up with a world champion. But, yeah, it doesn't normally go well. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Red Bull have just been chewing through drivers. That's also another thing. Red Bull, they've done it with Gasly. They did it with Albon. And... Red Bull's driver management thing just doesn't really work out, does it? Magnussen and Button. Ooh, I didn't actually know. When was Magnussen's career debut? It's been a long time before I started watching Formula 1, and I don't actually know what year he debuted. Was it 2015? Was his debut, or 2014? Or maybe it was way before that. I'm not actually sure. Is FP2 more accurate? Indeed it is, because free practice 2 will be at the same time as the race, and it will be at the same time as qualifying, so the sun will have set, the floodlights will be out, the track temperature will go down, and free practice 2 will be a lot more representative. We'll see also a lot more soft tyre runs. We've been seeing quite a lot of long runs here. You can see the drivers out on medium tyres and hard tyres. So once we get out into FP2, we'll be seeing a lot more quick laps. 2014 Australian Grand Prix. Okay, there we go. So I think, did I say 2014? Did I say 2015? Nonetheless, good Magnussen. I don't know, actually. I don't remember how he did up against Button. Yeah. How's RB doing? Well, down in 9th and 10th position, and Verstappen's still complaining about the car, so I don't know how well their upgrade package has really worked. We will find out at the end of FP2 when they do their interviews, and Verstappen is like, well, he's either going to say, oh, the car has improved, or he's going to be like, the car's terrible, we're not going to win the championship, we're going to be 10 seconds off the pace. You know, all of these typical things that racing drivers say. It's very interesting, you know, how Norris was, up until while Norris was beating Piastri, the car was always drivable. He could always extract the performance out of the car. And now suddenly that Piastri is going quicker than Norris, the car becomes a little bit too hard to drive, and he needs to drive in a different way. I mean, this is the thing. The racing drivers always come up with excuses, and it's a thing that's going to happen. You know, Norris will say that McLaren haven't got a huge lead and they're not that much quicker than everyone else. Verstappen's going to say McLaren is quicker than everyone else by about 4 seconds per lap. It's just that the drivers aren't quick enough or something. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out for them. But Verstappen, I suspect the gap between the McLarens and the Red Bulls in terms of, you know, actual lap time would probably only be about 2-3 tenths of a second. Norris is not in the right headspace. Yeah, not sure what's going on here with Lando Norris. You know, this is the first time really in his career where he has sort of been in the dominant position, and he's the driver that I'm phrasing this really badly, but he's the driver that people expect to do better than his teammate. So when he joined McLaren, of course, he was the rookie. He wasn't expected to beat Carlos Sainz. Then he had his teammate as Daniel Ricciardo. He wasn't really expected to beat Ricciardo. And then he was the driver, and then Piastri was his teammate, and Norris was comfortably beating Piastri on most occasions. So it was never really an issue. But now this is the first time in his career where he's expected to deliver, and his teammate is out-delivering him. So it's, you know, we've seen this happen before with other drivers, and now we'll wait and see how Norris deals with it. Okay. So, yeah, we've got 1:44 left on the clock. Not all that much left going on in the session, to be honest. We've got Isaac Hadjar out on a soft tyre run here. 15th place for Isaac Hadjar. Nicely done. A look at entry exit compromise turn 13. They say to Max, and Max says, I can't, I just have no balance, basically. So Verstappen's still complaining about the radio. Nice and typical stuff, really. Have we had a race weekend where Verstappen hasn't complained? That would be a surprising one. No Newey, no title. Maybe. I saw this meme. It was like what the Red Bull engineers look like when they're upgrading their cars without Adrian Newey, and it was a picture of like a gorilla with a hacksaw, like cutting up some wood or something. So yeah, take of that what you will. But Red Bull's upgrades haven't worked all that well as soon as Adrian Newey's left. Right, I'd appreciate if you don't spam the chat too much here. JY? There should be a feature for the viewer to know fuel load so we know who's lying and who's not. Yeah, but then if we know fuel loads and the team knows fuel load, then all of the other teams will also know the fuel loads, and then that kind of ruins the fun of us guessing in free practice 1. I think it's quite nice, you know, we are here in free practice 1, 2 and 3 all guessing who's going to be the quickest, or trying to look at the data and analyze everything, and then we wait till qualifying and we finally find out. It's nice and interesting. All right, but that is the end of the session. George Russell complaining about some issues with braking. He was having issues last weekend. He's having, looks like he might be having similar issues this weekend, but they'll probably get it fixed this time round. All right, so thank you everyone for tuning in. Nobody else is really doing any quick runs, to be honest, right now. We've got Gasly top of the times, Lando Norris second place, and Charles Leclerc in third. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you guys could hit the reminder button and the like button for the FP2 stream, that'd be fantastic. I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to Free Practice 2, and we'll be live in 2 hours' time for Free Practice 2, and the session itself will be live in 2.5 hours. We have no crashes here in FP1, and things are going well. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you in 2 hours' time for free practice 2. Thank you.